Welcome back to Your Story, Our Lens. On my left, I have Mr. Jay Woods, who is going to be running for PVA. Again, I'm your host, Mike Booth. We wanted to talk to you about some of the things that you have in store for your campaign, and what would you like to talk about?
Well, just some of the accomplishments, the PVA office we have done since I started working there in 1996.
Wow.
And I was just a deputy. Then in 98, I took over as chief deputy, and I worked that position until 2022 when I took office. And this is my first term as PVA. But some of the accomplishments over the years that we did is we actually built a GIS mapping system for 911. We drove every road in the county. We GPS'd every structure in the county, rephotographed the whole county, and 911 still uses that map today, and we maintain that mapping system for them.
That's cool.
And we have used it for FEMA. FEMA has used it.
Mm-hmm.
When the tornado hit out in Summit, they needed pictures before and after.
Mm-hmm.
So we supplied them with all that. We work with emergency management. Of course, we work with all the first responders. I supply them with my mapping and my data. That way it makes it easier for them.
That's awesome. So what all is entailed in the job?
Well, our main job, of course, is assessing property, and the law requires it to be at 100% market value. We do not value automobiles. That comes from Frankfurt. Now, we have the capability of adjusting those values if they're incorrect. We also process deeds. We, of course, maintain the map for the whole county. We do tangible property reports each year. We transfer wills, affidavits. We process those. Any court records that come over that pertains to property, we process those. So it's a lot more than just assessing real estate.
Seems like a lot. What all kinds of businesses, or is there anybody that's been, very supportive of everything going on?
I've been getting a lot of great feedback, and I do have some people that have backed me, and and everything seems to be great.
Would you like to do a shout out to any of those?
Well, they asked me not to mention names.
Fair enough. I know how this goes. That's the funny thing about politics. It's very, I don't know the word for it. It's not like they're not wanting to be disrespectful on it. They just kind of want to stay anonymous to
Right.
what it is.
They just want to stay in the shadows.
And I completely understand that.
Yes.
I think that's a cool way to be.
Yeah.
So what's your plans if you get elected?
I want to just keep maintaining we have to keep a ratio of sales. And as long as I keep that ratio, that keeps Frankfurt from coming in and saying we're not doing our job. And they'll come in and put a blanket assessment on everybody. Well, it's a lot easier talking to me than it is Frankfurt. And, this goes way back to 1993. They did that to Boyd County. They came in and put a 10% on everybody in Boyd County, and they was lined out the door protesting these values. Well, as long as I keep my ratio where it's supposed to be, we're good.
That's awesome.
And we are very transparent. That is one thing about my office. Everything in my office is public record, and I have a website that's updated daily. So everything we do is right there.
That's very cool. So whenever you guys talk to Frankfurt, is that a bridge that you've cultivated over a long time, or do you have any insights on Frankfurt? Or
as long as we're doing our job, we don't get bothered by Frankfurt.
They just don't even.
And I have
awesome.
a good working relationship with the folks from Revenue Cabinet.
That's really cool.
Matter of fact, my field rep, each county has a field rep, which he kind of is our watchdog, per se.
Yeah.
And he says I'm one of his best counties that he has. So
that's awesome. That's high praise. I like it. So speaking with that, how is everybody in the offices? Do you guys, everybody get along? Everything
I've got 6 deputies. We do, right now, I have a few of them that are working on their education, which I push it highly to continue our education. Matter of fact, 2 of my girls just received their CKA, which is Certified Kentucky Assessor, which takes, you have to be in the office 3 years and do so many classes. Well, since I've taken office, 2 has got their CKA. Then my chief deputy, he has, since I've taken office, got his SKA, which is CKA, then the SKA, which is Senior Kentucky Assessor. And I do 40 hours of continuing education every year.
Wow.
So
That's really cool.
we stay
Pretty busy.
we stay up with what Frankfurt wants us to do.
That's awesome.
But in the next breath, I'm going to help the taxpayer as much as I can also. You know, that's.
Okay. Do you have any plans for that part, like on what you would like to do or enact for the taxpayer?
Well, one of the new things I enacted when I took over in 22, it's called the birthday card. And what that amounts to is, state of Kentucky, you get a homestead exemption if you're 65 or older and you reside at the property, and a few other things. But what I do is each year I'll get a list of everyone turning 65 in Boyd County. And I'll go through make sure they own property, make sure their name's on the deed, and I'll send them a birthday card so they'll come up and sign up for that homestead. Well, that homestead saves them $600-700, you know, off their taxes.
Yeah. And where do you stand on the stance? We had one gentleman come in and he said that seniors have put in their work and that they should not be getting taxed. Like, what's your stance on that?
There has been different bills they've tried to pass to help the seniors more, and I will say they continue to do that. But I'm all for giving the seniors the biggest break as we can.
I think they should. I'm like anybody that's, in my opinion, anybody that's like a civil servant that has worked hard to like help the place.
Absolutely.
I think they should be exempt of this crap. It's so ridiculous.
They need at
least a break or something.
With the homestead, they get a pretty good break.
That's pretty.
But they still need more. Yeah. I mean, you know, because you know when it comes down, do I buy my medicine or pay my taxes? You know,
yeah, or electric bill. That's kind of it's a rough one.
Yeah.
So with everything going on in the election, what do you think odds are? Getting any good numbers, anything like that?
You know, the bottom line, the Lord's going to put me where He wants me.
That's cool.
You know, He's brought me this far in 30 years. If He doesn't want me in office, you know, it's already decided. Yeah. We know the outcome's going to be His will, not mine.
Well, I have seen quite a wave of people wearing your shirts and definitely out there kind of.
Well, we've been working it. I've had a great support group. My wife, we've been married 34 years. I have 2 daughters, great daughters. I have 5 grandchildren.
Wow. 2
great grandchildren. So I'm fully invested in Boyd County, you know.
Pretty blessed. I like that.
Yes.
So out of everything that you have going on now, what I was going to say, do you have any, like, what do you think about any of your opponents or anybody that's running, what do you call them, running mates?
Well, I don't really know my opponent that well. He has come to our office a time or two, but I have nothing negative to say about the gentleman.
I love that. I love that you guys are. This has been the most amazing. I don't know, candidate race. Like, everybody's so nice. Like, this is what I like to see. This is what makes me happy in the future, that this is what I'd like to see.
Well, like I say, if it's meant for me to be back there, I will. Yeah. If it's meant for him to be there, then that's what's going to happen, you know.
See, I love that.
We don't control that.
And he felt the same way. And I thought that was just the coolest thing that I've seen. It's just, to me, if more races can get like this, I think that this will show people what it's like to be an American, what it's like to be in the voting process. And
we need to work together. I mean, you know,
that's what I'd like to see.
You know, and I know a lot of stuff's been spoke about economic development. Well, our office is a state mandated office. We can't control economic development in our office.
Okay.
I mean, I can't offer a company incentives to come to Boyd County. My job is 100% market value of those properties.
Right.
That's what I have to do. Now your other county officials, they can offer incentives and things of that nature, but as far as our office, no. We have a law that we have to abide by.
Right.
And that's what we do.
That's fair. So I'm kind of curious. What gives the other commissioners more ability to play with those numbers?
Well, you got, let's say the county judge, they can, and the fiscal court, they can sit down and say, hey, let's give them a tax break on what they're paying for maybe 3 years, 2 years or something like that. They can do that because they set their rates. See, that's the difference. The PVA sets the values. Okay. I don't set the dollar amount what you pay.
The rates part.
You got all those different entities that set that rate. If, say, some of the other entities wanted to give them a break on what they pay them, that's up to them. See, our office, we can't control none of that.
That makes sense. So going forward, any kind of response to that part of it should be kind of more addressed towards what judges that are running?
The fiscal court, and they're the ones that can control their rate.
Now, on that, are you allowed to speak with judges on behalf of that?
Yeah, I
kind of endorse
my mapping system, the county judge has. I mean, he might call me and say, hey, I got a huge map printer, we need a big map of this. I can help them in that way, supply them with information or data on the property, because I have pictures and drawings of every structure in Boyd County.
That's cool.
And, I can supply them with that kind of stuff. And we do an aerial flight. It's not by drones. We do an aerial flight every 2 years.
That's what I was wondering, if it was done by drones.
We do an aerial flight, and I pay for that myself.
Wow.
That is not paid by the county, so it doesn't cost the taxpayers a penny. I use my website funding that I make from my website, and that's how I pay for my aerial flight.
That's awesome.
So,
do you go up there with them, or is it just
no? They do it, and they'll put it all together. They usually do it in the fall. Well, matter of fact, December of this year we have another flight scheduled, and they'll start probably around March where all the foliage comes on, and
that's cool.
They'll get. Then I have a program where I can go in. It's called Change Finder. I can go in and say, Michael's got a house here. Well, Michael didn't come tell me about this garage sitting here, but it'll tell me there's a new structure here.
That's cool.
So that keeps it fair.
Yeah.
I mean,
So on anything that's like that, do they charge more for more? Like if you build onto your property, does it have to?
We have to reassess. Yes.
Okay.
You're improving that property. So if it was worth $100,000 here and you build a $20,000 garage, I mean, your property's going to go up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And we do what we call a quad review. We break the county down in 4 different sections, and we'll start on this section. Well, the time that 4 years is up, we should be back here starting on this section again of reassessing. And it's all property. It's commercial, farm, residential, whatever.
That's awesome. Well, is there anything that you'd like to?
Well, I just hope that the public is more informed. I like I said, I'm an open book. They can come to my office and talk to me anytime. Yeah. We have a tax calendar that we have to go by.
And is there a way for people to access that, to see that kind of information?
My tax calendar or anything, they can come up and It's just what it is. It has what we do all throughout the year. Like, say, for instance, in January and February, it's called the listing period.
Okay.
A lot of people don't know this, but by law, everyone in the state of Kentucky is supposed to go to their PVA office and say, hey, no improvements to my property, or I tore down something, or I built something. You'll never see them lined out in my office coming
That's
to
what
tell
I was
me.
about to say. I was like, I had never heard of that. Okay.
That is called the listing period.
Okay.
And it, all through the year, we have certain
Mm-hmm.
times a year that we do stuff.
Okay.
So,
So is there any kind of like benefits or anything like that for the people that go and do any of those things?
well,
Like,
I
is there
mean, if you tear down something,
Mm-hmm.
that generates us to look at your property and make sure,
That's
it's
correct.
adjusted right.
Right.
And of course, in the next breath,
Mm-hmm.
if you build something,
Kind of adds the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
so,
That's awesome. Well,
but there's a lot more to our
to it
office.
then, yeah, it seems
And
like it.
I feel like 30 years of experience, and
Mm-hmm.
I think,
So what got you into it?
well, at the time, it's going to be kind of my testimony here.
That's fine. Number time.
I moved to Westwood,
Mm-hmm.
me and my wife, and I worked on the boats at the time, and I was gone 30 days, and
Off and on.
she started going to church, and of course she got me going, and I got saved, and all this, got baptized, and
Love it.
And the gentleman that was I didn't even know what PVA was.
Yeah.
And the older gentleman that was PVA at the time, he went to church there,
Mm-hmm.
and one Wednesday night after church, I was just joking around with him. I said, hey, Cy, his name was Cy Reynolds.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I said, won't you give me one of them good gravy desk jobs, man? And I wouldn't have to go out on the boats.
Yeah.
He looked at me serious and he said, can you type? And I said, well, I typed back in high school, but, that's been a few years ago. He said, come and see me when you get back in town. So after my 30 days, I went and saw him, and he hired me.
That's awesome.
April Fool's Day, 1996.
Was you worried that he was just going to be like, oh, I was just kidding? 'cause
Well,
it's April Fool's Day?
When I first started the job, it takes a lot to get used to.
That's what I imagined. Yeah.
Because, one of the first things he told me, he says, you're taking money out of people's pocket, and they're not going to be happy with you.
Yeah.
And he said, you got to get used to, working with people and helping the taxpayer.
Yeah, it's a rough one.
And, from 96 to today, I'm there. So
Have you ever, what's like the worst story you got for any of that? Has anybody been so disgruntled that they came in on?
oh yeah, we've
some
had
bad
people
ones.
actually cuss us, and
Yeah.
and I really don't let my people take that kind of stuff. That's
good.
not.
Yeah.
We're not there for that.
Right.
We're doing our job. If I'm not there doing it, somebody else is going to be doing the
that's
same
what I was
thing.
about to say. And it's not your guys' fault.
Like I say, everything we do is what the state,
Mm-hmm.
it's KRS.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
Mandated stuff.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, that has cleared up a lot.
So
I guess 40, you said 40 years?
30 years.
30
years, yeah.
That'll do it. That will do it.
April Fool's Day, and I have 2026 was 30 years.
Wow. That's wild.
But that's how I got started there. And
30 years. That's a lot of experience. What would you say the hardest part of your job is?
trying to explain to folks why their values are going up.
Mm.
I won't say everybody is happy, but it helps when they come in and we sit down and I say, look, here's how we got the numbers.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing if you hire a private appraisal,
Yep.
he's going to come in, he's going to look at your house, he's going to find 3 or 4 different houses around like yours, and this is what they sold for, this is what your house is worth. Well, our job is we have to do mass appraisal. I can't go inside a house. I'm not permitted to go in a house. And we have to do a bunch of houses
Right.
without going inside.
Yeah.
Whereas this appraiser guy, he can go in and see everything, all the remodel and this and that. And so that's the hardest part, is really getting folks to understand how it works.
So would it be better for a person to get an appraiser versus going through you guys?
I will
or is
look
it-
at an appraisal, listing period.
Mm-hmm.
Say you got an appraisal on your house and it's $10,000 less than what I've got you assessed at. I'll consider that. I'm not 100% right.
That's cool.
I can take an appraisal a private appraisal and look at it, and we can work with it. You know, I'm not going to,
Yeah.
you know, and if folks that aren't content with what I tell them, they have the next step, which they can go to the local board and appeal it. Well, a lot of counties have a lot of folks going to the local board.
Yeah.
I've had 2 in 3 years.
That's
And it's big commercial that's took me to the board.
That's wild.
And I will say we prevailed.
Nice.
So
Now that's kind of another interesting story. Okay, so for the bigger companies, like let's say is it a different system than residential? Do they
as far as commercial, we can use the income approach. There's 3 approaches. You can do the income approach, the sales comparison approach, or the new construction. But in this case, you know, most commercial, we try to use the sales approach because we're supposed to assess it on the highest and best use.
Okay.
So usually by their income, we can value it that way.
That's cool.
So there's a lot of in depth.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not just saying, hey, you're worth this, and you know. And as far as big commercial stuff, I can get sales from across the state. I have connections with all the 119 other counties. There's 120 counties, of course, but you know, I can go to them and say, hey, has anybody had a gas station sale?
Yeah.
You know, what did it sell for? You know, we can use stuff like that for the sales comparison approach.
That's really cool. And do you feel like this is just a candid question on the outside of this? Do you feel like business has you feel like it's getting better, or do you feel like business is kind of going stagnant, sort of?
Definitely the county's coming ahead, I think.
I like that. That's what I'm hoping on. That's what I was kind of worried about, but
you know, we're kind of more of an entertainment district now. And if everything goes well out to the mall, like they're talking, you know, I mean, industry's not more than likely to not ever come back to this.
Yeah, I worry about that part. That's what I like to hope that it's going to.
Right,
but
exactly.
You know, I definitely want to talk to more people out there for that mall as well. I know that there's like a lot of big plans coming out that way.
Yes.
You've got the racetrack. You've got all kinds of cool stuff for Sandy's.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty awesome. I love like learning about that stuff. She has we're trying to do like a women's empowerment. So we're trying to get more people that are involved in bigger business like that to come on to the show, speak about their experience and things like that. And then I'm going to try to do one as well. It's kind of like geared more towards like, you know, being a business, like so far since you've been doing this, have you ever owned your own business?
I had some rental property at once upon a time, but as far as my own business, no, I have not.
I was going to ask, what was the hardest, or what's the best thing that you've learned out of being in business, like as far as what you do now?
Well,
best piece of advice. If you had to talk to somebody right now sitting in front of you and they're about to go into business, what would you tell them?
Well, do your due diligence. If you're buying real estate, make sure you do a title search, make sure you check all liens, make sure there's no back taxes, because if you buy that property and it has liens on it, guess what? You're buying those liens also.
Yep.
So, you know, just do your due diligence. Yep. Don't just take something because I've known you for 20 years and I trust you. I'm just going to go ahead and buy it.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't always work out well.
No, it doesn't. That's the same way with the car, I feel like. Yeah.
And you know, like property disputes, you know, that is a civil matter. Our office we have nothing to do with boundary disputes.
That makes sense.
You know, if I have a dispute with you over our boundary, you know, it's up to you to get a survey. I'll get a survey, then we'll go to court.
Oh, okay.
And say whose survey works out. You know, as far as my mapping is not survey grade. It is for locating purposes only. You know, it's to say that here's a piece of property, it's about this size, you know. But as far as saying these are the correct boundaries, no, it's my map's not for that.
Okay. Yeah, we had talked about something about survey tokens or something.
Yeah,
like
your
that.
pins.
Pins. Survey pins.
If I have a new survey done, they're going to drive pins in, and they'll drive them below ground level, so you can find them with a metal detector.
Oh, that's cool.
But now, if there's, if you have dozing done or something like that, sure, them pins are going to get knocked around and gone. But yeah, but our maps they're not. If you have a survey done, you bring it up. Yes, we'll draw it and put it on our map, and we can say that,
How often do you think, just how often do you think people come to a bad understanding of that? Do they have
we
lot
have
of
a few.
arguments?
They'll come up and want our map, and we'll say, well, no, this map's not really going to help you because, we're drawing it, like a lot of the county, we'll draw from fence lines and things like that, but who's to say those fence lines are right?
Right.
Grandpa might have said 100 years ago, hey, that's
right. That's what I was kind of wondering.
Was Grandpa correct?
Yeah, that's wild.
We get a lot of that.
Yeah. Now, when a problem like that arises, you guys have no.
We'll suggest they get a surveyor.
Okay.
And once they get their survey done, if it's wrong, then it's up to them to take it to court and have it settled. It's nothing. Our office does not get involved in that.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Well, it's definitely more than I expected. That seems like a very big job.
But as far as my staff and everything, I have a great staff. We have all the modern technology that you could think of. We have certain programs that we have to use from Frankfurt. So we're as top notch as they are.
That's cool.
I've worked with appraisers and surveyors from all over the state, and they'll come in my office and they'll say, you and Round County are in the top 5 in the state of Kentucky as far as.
That's awesome.
So
is there other corporations or businesses that you guys have to work with besides you guys probably work with a lot of assessors and different appraisers
they'll get our information, and that's where my website comes in handy. Like I said, our website, we are a state office. We're not fully funded, meaning that I have to pay so much deputy pay each year, and then anything extra like my birthday card thing and different things, my aerial flights, I pay for it from my website money. That way the taxpayer's not out a penny. It doesn't cost them nothing.
That's really awesome.
And we get a lot of out-of-state folks that does hit our website. So,
that's really cool.
Now, property owner, if they want to come up and need information and stuff from my office, we'll print it right out for them, no charge. I mean, we don't charge for that for property owners.
That's awesome.
If they just want an aerial map, we'll print them out a little aerial map.
I might have to come down there because I want me a little aerial map
just
to be right there on that wall.
Yeah, we can fix you up,
that'd be really
bud.
cool.
We can sure fix you up.
That's awesome. Well, do you want to say anything to the audience out there?
I just hope I've informed you a little bit on how the PVA office works. I think experience does matter, and May 19th, number 2 on the ballot. Appreciate your support.
There you go. Mr. Jay Woods.
Thanks, sir.
It was a pleasure getting to meet you.
You too, bud.